Now live on YouTube.
All right, thank you. It's 57.
Hey, Mr. Aaron, how are you tonight?
Good, Ricky. How y'all doing?
Doing well. How's your little ones doing?
They're getting big, man. They started to eat whole chickens. They're doing good, though.
Ooh, whole chicken, man. That's bad. Have they put their Christmas wish list together yet?
Yeah, they did it the day after last Christmas. That's a continuing thing. It's not a one-time thing there.
It's a growing list, huh, Aaron?
Always.
All right, now we have one. All right, 6 o'clock, we'll call meeting to order. Good evening, everybody. I'd like to welcome you to the November 10th, 2020 Graham City Council meeting. For this meeting, the City of Graham is convening a Zoom video phone conference as posted on the city's website, identifying how the public may join. Due to the coronavirus pandemic, this meeting being held again by the Zoom platform. Meeting will be live streamed on the City of Graham YouTube page at www.youtube.com in City of Graham, North Carolina. Please note this meeting is recorded. If anyone is having technical difficulties or connection difficulties, please contact Preston Jenkins at 336-8674 for support. Tonight's items not on the agenda, public comments to address the council at the meeting. Please indicate that you wish to do so by using the raise hand feature in the Zoom, or by phone, press star 9, and our meeting host will notify me that you wish to speak. I am Mayor Jerry Peterman. I'd like to that all the members in person that anticipated that the agenda are present and can hear me. First, I'll ask for Mayor Pro Tem Chip Turner.
Present.
Councilmember Melody Wiggins.
Here.
Councilmember Jennifer Talley.
Here.
Councilmember Ricky Hall.
Here.
Participants, when I call your name, staff participants, when I call your name, please respond in the affirmative. City Manager Frankie Mays.
Here.
Assistant City Manager Aaron Highland, excuse me, Aaron.
Here.
City Attorney Brian Coleman.
Here.
City Clerk Darcy Berry.
Here.
Planning Director Nathan Page.
Present.
Are you here, Nathan?
Yes, sir, I'm present.
Good. Downtown Development Coordinator Mary Fawcett.
Present.
And IT System Manager Jeff Wilson.
Here, sir.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to have an invocation, if you would, bow your heads with us. Tonight, we come to you with your hearts with the loss of retired City MP Deborah Moose. We pray that you be with her family and friends and give thanks for her life. It's been a life of giving and serving. Be with us tonight as we do our city's business and always protect us. In your heavenly name we pray. Would you now do our Pledge of Allegiance, please? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, first we have our consent agenda. A is approval of minutes October 13th. B is approved tax releases. C is a petition for voluntary non-contiguous annexation of 70 plus acres. D is petition voluntary contiguous annex for 41.81 acres. E is award a contract to Park Construction of North Carolina and approved budget ordinance for the Old Fields Outfall Construction Project. F is approve amendment for Section 5 of the traffic schedule. G is approve resolution conveying to Chief Jeff Pritchard his badge and service sidearm. H is approve resolution establishing a coronavirus relief fund. And I is authorize the police chief to close necessary city streets unless otherwise prohibited for the Christmas parade. Does anybody want to pull anything off the consent agenda?
Mayor, I'd like to pull
Yes,
a
sir.
G.
Pulling G. Thank you, sir. Anyone else?
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion that we accept all those that have not been pulled.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, sir.
if I could, I'd like to make a couple of comments before the consent agenda is voted on.
All right, well, let me finish. Steve, I need to pull F and I, please. So I've got F, G, and I. Anybody else? All right, now let's go to you, Brian, if you would, please.
No, sir, you pulled the one I wanted to make a comment about.
Okay,
We're
we'll
going
do that then.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's do these and then we'll vote on the rest of the consent agenda. Well, let's vote on it first. Go back to Ricky. Would you, Ricky, please?
Yes, sir. I make a motion that we accept all of those that have not been pulled.
Thank you, sir. I need a second.
Second.
I will second that. We'll approve A, B, C, D, E, and H of the consent agenda. All in favor say aye. I'll poll the council. Chip Turner, please.
Aye.
Melody, please.
Aye.
Jennifer Talley, please. Jennifer. I'll
Aye.
go to Ricky Hall, please. Thank
Aye.
you, man. Ricky Hall.
Yes, sir.
You and I vote aye, so that will be
Did you hear me, Jerry?
unanimous. I did, thank you.
Okay.
So let's go to F, approve amendment on Section 5 of the traffic schedule prohibiting parking on both sides of McCaden Street from South Main Street to South Maple Street. And I just wanted to comment that the Wells Fargo uses that one little section in their driveways for people to park with trailers, and there's no room in their parking lot for a trailer. This would hurt those guys that try to get by Wells Fargo and go in. I don't know if they can do half street or not. Does anybody know that? Aaron, are you handling this?
Mr. Mayor, I'm handling the item. I could speak with the rescue squad and see where it is that they need the no parking limits at.
What does everybody else think? You think that's a reasonable request or not? I people pulling with lawnmower trailers and stuff and going into Wachovia instead of pulling into, they have a very small, not Wachovia, it's Wells Fargo. They have a very small parking lot and there's no place for a trailer to park.
Mayor, I
Yes,
looked
sir.
at that site today. It's going to be a tough call because from Main Street up towards the bank, they have a driveway up there, and we don't need to be parking people on between that driveway and Main Street. You won't have any sight distance. Now, I mean, and
I
plus
just
it's not
brought
much
this up.
there. Say, excuse me.
Well, say I just put it up. If you want to include the whole street and vote on it, I'm
Well,
fine.
no, I mean, I'm just
We'll
saying
vote
for that one particular part, we probably should not have parking there.
Yeah.
We don't need to be blocking sight
What is everybody-
distances. But if you get on above, there's not much space there to park a truck and trailer, to be honest with you, unless you get on up the street.
What does
I mean,
everybody else think?
You got two drives coming out there, one in front of the bank and one behind the bank.
Mr. Mayor,
Again, what does everybody else? Go ahead,
Mr.
Rick.
Mayor, I think the rescue squad has given a valid reason that they need that area blocked off, and I think we should give them that their request.
What does everybody else think? Buddy?
Mr. Mayor, I think that the request is about the tractor trailers parking on that side street, and they can't get out. I think
Okay.
that's exactly their point. So
Okay,
I do believe it is difficult. I travel that side road quite a bit, and it is difficult when they park there.
okay. All right. Then I'll come back to that and we'll make a motion for it. So I'll ask for a motion to approve or disapprove F.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion to approve the amendment to section 5 of the traffic schedule prohibiting parking on both sides of Fincaden Street from South Main Street to South Maple Street.
Thank you, ma'am. I need a second. Thank you, Ricky. All in favor? I'll poll the council. Chipper,
Aye.
Melody, please.
Aye.
Jennifer
Aye.
and Ricky.
Aye.
And I'll vote aye also. We'll make it unanimous. So, okay, next we have G, approve resolution conveying Chief Pritchard's badge and sidearm. And I think, Chip, yes.
Yes, sir. I'd just like to take the time to thank Chief Pritchard for his years of service and all that he did in that job. I think we owe him a debt of gratitude, and I would like to see you read the proclamation with that to give him his due. I'm sorry we can't have him in front of us tonight.
Myself, you'll have to give me a second to find it. I'll have to go off Zoom meeting. I don't know how I do that. I asked for Darcy. Darcy, can you bring me a copy of Pat 31? And there she comes. Thank you, ma'am. I appreciate it. Okay, I will read this resolution conveying Chief Jeff Pritchard his badge and service sidearm. Whereas Chief Jeff Pritchard diligently served the city of Graham Police Department from 1995 until 2020. Whereas Jeff is retiring from law enforcement with 30 years of credible service in law enforcement. Whereas wisdom, care, and leadership has commanded the utmost respect from his colleague peers. Whereas GS 20-87.2 provides that retiring members of municipal law enforcement agency may receive at the time of their retirement the badge worn or carried by them during their service with the municipalities. As General Statutes 20-187.2 further provides that the governing body of the municipal law enforcement agency may, in their discretion, award the retiring member the service sidearm of such retiring members. Where it is desired the city council to extend their deepest appreciation to Jeff for his excellent time and service he has afforded the citizens of Graham and his fellow employees. Now therefore be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Graham, North Carolina, that Chief Jeff Pritchard be commended for his outstanding public service to the City of Graham. Further resolved that the city manager or his designee is hereby authorized in accordance with the provision of GS 20-187.2 to transfer Jeff Pritchard's the badge by him during his service with the Graham Police Department and his certified a Glock 45 caliber model 21, real number BLUW 366. This 10th day of November 2020, signed Jerry Eastman, Mayor of the City of Graham. Thank you. Appreciate you allowing me to read that. Does anybody else want to say anything?
I'd just like to thank him again for his service and for all that he gave to the city.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else want to speak?
I too, Mayor, appreciate all that Jeff did for us. He's a great man.
Yes.
I would also like to
Well, we wish-
say how much we have appreciated him. He's always been a face that's participated in all of the events, the community events here. He was very well known by the citizens, and they know his character and the leadership that he's provided at the police department. And I very much hate that he's not getting his due by being here tonight, so that we can share all the accolades with him and our appreciation for him. But I hope he knows, and I hope, Frankie, you will relay to him how much we appreciate him getting up in the middle of the night and serving our community and always being there to protect us and protect our citizens.
Thank you, ma'am.
Mayor, I also concur and appreciate Jeff and want to thank him for his service. He's a tremendous department head, a tremendous chief, and he has served this community well and with honor. And we thank him for that service.
Thank you very much. I think Jeff is going to continue his strongman program he's got started in the systems. That's what he wanted to retire to. We wish him luck, and you're right, he is a great man. So with that being said, I need a motion to approve G of the consent agenda.
So moved.
I second it.
Okay, thank you, Chip. Thank you, Ricky. So I've got a motion and a second. So go to Chip, please. How do you vote?
Aye.
Melody, please.
Aye.
Jennifer,
Aye.
Ricky,
Aye.
and I vote aye. Thank you. Next, we go to I, authorize the police chief to close necessary streets unless otherwise prohibited by the current governor's executive order for the 60th annual Graham Christmas Parade on Saturday, December 5th, 2020. I think because of the governor's move today, I just don't see how in the world we can do a Christmas parade. And that's even if we had the where to means to do it, I just don't see how we can. I was looking at online to see who has already canceled their parade, and it's Wake Forest, Reidsville, Kinston, Marion, Silva, Cherryville, Roanoke Valley, Roanoke Rapids, Valdez, Waynesville, Burlington, Mebane, Chapel Hill, Cary, Mecklenburg, Thomasville, Asheville. Just the list from around here. So I'm asking y'all to consider this before we vote on that. We may not be able to do this because of the governor's COVID restrictions.
Well,
So tell me what everybody thinks.
What was that order today, Mayor? I'm sorry, I missed it.
He dropped it down to, well, I think it's 10 inside and a maximum of 50 outside. And no, we're gonna have more than 50.
Yes,
and
sir.
per event.
But here's the kind of way I look at it, Mayor. We could go ahead and approve it. That don't mean just because we approve it, that doesn't mean that we'd be able to have it. If we don't approve it and it comes up we could have it, it's not approved, so we'd be in a pickle there. To me, I mean, I'll go any way everybody wants to go, but I think we could approve the closing and knowing that if we're not able to, we're not able to. By approving it, that gives us two options. That's just kind of my take on it.
Well, what we were looking at alternatives, you know, we can go ahead with the alternatives if we have a Christmas parade. We can't do both, you know, you can't plan for a Christmas parade and try to do the alternatives. We were looking at doing something close to what we did for Halloween around the police department and the fire department, something like that. And Jones family has asked to do that also again. So there's not a way we can do, I don't believe. And I just look at these restrictions and think that it's not going to get any better anytime soon. I truly do. I think these restrictions goes to one day before our parade, if I'm not mistaken. So I think I had it here somewhere. Let's see.
Mr. Mayor, I agree with you. I think we can approve it. Give us time to look into what we can and can't do under the current guidelines set forth by this person.
Well, we have another little small problem, and that's we haven't any kind of parade permit type thing with our legal system. We cannot allow a or any type of big gathering right now because we don't have a permitting process. Brian, I guess you could speak to that, couldn't you?
Yes, sir. I appreciate that. You know, I was just reiterate what you've just said. You know, in the staff report, it was talking about we're still subject to the Executive Order 170, which limits the maximum number of people to 50 or less. In order to try to prevent the spread of COVID-19, looking at the face of it, like you said, there's no way that this parade is going to be less than 50 people, and it's going to be about impossible to comply with the governor's order. And I know the city wants to do its part in helping prevent COVID-19, but also it's going to potentially subject the city to liability to have that. You get, I don't know how many people attend the parade, a few thousand. I just don't see any way that we're going to be able to comply with that governor's order there. And as far as we do not have a permit process that's permitting for parades, demonstrations, or anything like that, it's in the works, but we don't have it. So we don't have a mechanism where we can really move forward with it. That's really about all I have to say. As far as, I just kind of reiterate that Executive Order 170, if we violate that, I think with the amount of people that are there, the city could be potentially liable for some things that we just don't want to get involved in. It's a recipe to cause the city a lot of problems.
Mr. Mayor, after hearing all that, I like options, but after hearing that, I don't see, we could vote to do it, but we're not going to be able to do it. So I kind of changed what I just said.
Mr. Mayor, where is it? Where do we stand on getting this permit program or ordinance in place?
At minimum would be December unless we wanted to do a special meeting to do it. But that still doesn't relieve us for do this parade and we have a mass spread, people are going to sue us because we had the parade, gathered these people together. That's where Brian's going. This is it's like lighting a stick of dynamite and seeing how many people we hurt. It's really bad, I think. Even if we had the parade permitting thing, I think it still puts us in a very bad situation with liabilities. Brian, do you want to add anything to that? Am I saying the right thing?
That's exactly right. We get somebody out there and, we have all these people together and we pretty much, co-hosted it or at least, opened the street, invited people to come basically, and somebody gets sick and, we're going to be liable. I mean, we're not necessarily, we potentially going to be liable because we've, opened it up for people to come and violate that order. Now, So I don't really have anything to add. I think you covered it pretty good, Mayor.
Mayor, I think that being said, I don't think really we have an option now. I just don't see that.
Well,
Well,
nobody wants to parade more.
Jerry,
Yeah.
I mean, Brian, have you taken a look at the exemptions that are under the executive order? Because I would think, this being a Christmas parade, that it would be protected under the First Amendment.
I don't think it's going to fit under the First Amendment. I do agree that the First Amendment is exempt under the executive order, but I'm hard pressed to see how a Christmas parade is going to be fitting under that.
Well, it's a Christmas parade. It's a religious event. I mean, it's like saying a church can't have a Christmas play or a Christmas event, or, I mean, I would be more worried about violating that right than, I mean, it seems like there's a lot of exemptions for people to be able to protest under the First Amendment. But if someone wants to do a march or a parade for a Christmas parade, it seems like that would also be allowed. And some of the parades that I got a list of that were still going on were China Grove, Belmont, Claremont. Now, I haven't checked since this last announcement that was made. Did you say that was today, Jerry?
Yes.
Okay,
This is
Winston-Salem, Newton, Tyan, Greensboro, Davidson, Franklin, Kernersville, Morganton, Salisbury, Valdez, Maiden, Bessemer City, Canton, and Stanley. And they were doing some different things. Some of them were doing reverse parades, some of them were doing just regular parades. But obviously, some attorney for those cities, I mean, something as big as Winston-Salem, has taken some position on this to think that it would be allowed, I guess. But when I read over the executive order, I mean, I think that First Amendment cuts both ways. I think it allows people to be able to do the event and practice social distancing. And maybe we could extend the parade route or something in order to, have people space out and maybe even, be in their cars or whatever. But I think what the committee was wanting is for the city council to be open to the idea of putting on the Christmas parade. We have had I think a ton of phone calls about this issue, and I think a lot of people don't want to. I think they want to have a Christmas event, and a lot of people want to participate in the Christmas parade. But I agree that we need to do things safely. So I want to hear from everybody and what, the overall consensus is. But I just wanted, Brian, for you to.
I respectfully disagree that the Christmas parade would fit under the First Amendment. Now, I could be wrong, and I'll be glad to, do a little bit of research on it and just table this item. But I right now, just sitting here without doing any research, I would not think that the Christmas parade would fit under the exemption of the First Amendment as set out in the exemption in the executive order. That's just my opinion. And I think it would be
do you know where that's
liability.
Okay? Do you know where that section is?
I don't have it in front of me. I've looked at it before. As a matter of fact, we looked at it, back in July, and coming forward from that, and I do not know what section it is, okay. But we did see where First Amendment freedom of speech was an exemption to the executive order.
All right. Well, I'm still not comfortable
Right.
with it either way. It was a First Amendment problem. I'm not comfortable with it without our way to do a parade permit, and with also the COVID. I'm comfortable with this. So I will.
This is the 60th anniversary.
I understand, and I'm sorry as I can be, but this is the first anniversary of the COVID-19. first Christmas anniversary. So I make a motion, we not approve I of the consent agenda, and I ask for a second.
Second.
Ma'am, I poll the council. I'll ask for Chip,
Aye.
Melody,
Aye.
Jennifer,
Nay.
Key,
Nay.
and I will vote aye. The motion passes 3-2. We'll send the message to the Graham Area Association if you'll give them a call tomorrow, Frankie.
Brian, can you check on to see if other cities were able to put on their parades with the exemption under the governor's order?
I will.
Okay, thank you.
Mayor,
Yes, sir.
if I mean, I hate doing this, I really do, but
You know I do.
I know
you
you
know I
do.
do.
What Brian said, I don't, 50 people, I don't see we'll really have much of a choice. But however, with what Jennifer asked Brian to do, if we find out that we could do it, can we come back and reverse this decision?
You
Have
can
a special-
advertise and and do it that way. We can't do it without but
But we could do it. Is that correct?
Brown is our city attorney, and
I agree. I agree. That's why I voted the way I voted. But I mean, if we find out that we could, is there any way to reverse this decision?
Yes, you can reverse it by having a special meeting and,
Okay.
and have.
All right. I know it's a lot to do, but I was just wondering. Thank you.
Well, I'd like to do everything I could to have it also without taking the chance of hurting or even killing people or, yeah. Okay, well, let's move on. Next, we go to number 2, old business. If anyone would like to speak during the agenda item, please indicate that you wish to do so by using the raise hand feature on Zoom, or by press *9 to notify the host you wish to speak. As you at the appropriate time to speak. If you're having difficulties, please contact Preston Jenkins at 346-347-8674. Provide your comments to be read. This time I'll recognize City Manager Aaron to present this item. I will call for public comment after the discussion by the council members. This is public hearing AN 2005 Council Creek. And if you would, please.
Thank you, Mayor. The requested action tonight is to approve the annexation ordinance to extend the corporate limits for the subject property here off of Dow Drive and Council Road, which is approximately 34.4 acres. There is water and sewer adjacent to this location, and the applicant does wish to tie on the city's infrastructure. The annexation process has multiple steps. Following a public hearing, approval of an annexation ordinance is the final step for council in the annexation process. Staff does recommend approval. The fiscal impact, the proposed subdivision with 92 dwellings on 34.4 acres is anticipated to cover costs for the first decade of life. After that time, as items in the subdivision begin to wear out, assuming the home values increase at a comparable rate to existing home valuations in the city, the neighborhood will need to be supported through other revenue sources. And as I mentioned earlier, staff does recommend approval.
Thank you, Aaron. All right, council members, questions for the staff? No questions? Then I'll move to the public hearing. Jeff, have we got anybody that wants to speak on this?
Yes, sir. Maggie, you've
Yes,
been
sir.
unmuted. Go ahead and state your name and address, please. Maggie, are you there?
Still
Hello, are you able to hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Very good. My issue is actually regarding the last statement regarding Brian Coleman stating if the city was, I want to make sure that we understand that I don't feel as a community member that the city of Graham is concerned about COVID-19. If they were concerned about COVID-19, the police department would not have sprayed citizens with gases, which caused people to remove their masks in order to cough, have runny nose and runny eyes and be treated
Maggie,
without.
Maggie, please, if you will wait, that's a public comment. We'll let you speak at the end of the meeting, okay? We're talking about an agenda item right now, all right?
Jerry Peterman was present, Lieutenant Flood was present, as well as Christy Cole was present.
Jeff, would you cut it off, please? Please call back at the end of the meeting, ma'am.
Hey, Mayor, we really can't hear that anyway because we under a lawsuit.
I know that, but she still wanted to, words out there, and we'll allow her to get her words out. We can hear it, we just can't respond. So Jeff, have you got anybody else that wants to speak on the public hearing?
Yes, we got one more. Muse NC. Go ahead, you've been unmuted.
Instead of us having meetings regarding us doing parades, we have been avoiding communications about Lexington, Galveston, Gastonia, Asheville, and Pittsburgh having their statues removed. Instead, we're talking about parades, which the statutes have provoked.
Call back at the end of the meeting when we can do the public comments, okay? Does anybody want to speak on the public hearing? Jeff, you have nobody else?
I have one. Scott, your hand was raised. Go ahead, you've been unmuted.
Are you there, Scott?
Yes. Yes,
sir.
Scott Wallace, president of Keystone Group, do business Keystone Homes. I don't have any prepared remarks. I'm just available to answer any questions you may have.
Okay.
Thank
Have anybody questions for Scott Wallace with Keystone? I thank you, sir, for being available for us. Anyone else, Jeff?
One more, Carrie Griffin.
I just wanted to respond, hi, Mr. Mayor, to
Hi.
Chip about not being able to respond because you're under a lawsuit. Mr. Turner, when is Graham not under a lawsuit?
Carrie, is this?
That's a good question, ma'am.
That is a good question.
No,
When
it's not
you're
really a
not,
good
I would
question.
love to have a
Give me that.
conversation. Okay, that's
You're
all
a
I have
waste
to
of our
say.
time. We've got other business, ma'am.
All right. Anyone else?
That's it, Mr. Mayor.
All right, we'll close our public and we'll talk about it among ourselves. What do everybody think?
This is just the investigation of the annexation. Is that correct, Mayor?
Let me see how it reads here. It says public hearing, council annexation ordinance for voluntary contiguous annexation for 34.441 acres located off Darrell and Council Road. Aaron, do you want to answer his question, please? Repeat the question for Aaron, if you would.
This is not a vote on annexing it tonight. This is just an investigation of the annexation. Is that correct?
I believe we already had done the
Investigation.
investigation from last month. This one is to actually annex it in.
Okay.
This is the final step.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions or any other comments?
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion, we approve the annexation ordinance to extend the corporate limits of the city of Graham, North Carolina for 34.4 plus or minus acres of Darrell Drive and Council Road.
Mr. Mayor, I
Thank
second the motion.
Thank you, Rick. I have a motion and a second. I'll poll the council. I'll go to Chip first.
Aye.
I'll go to Melody, please.
Aye.
I'll go to Jennifer.
Aye.
Vicky Hall,
Aye.
and I'll vote aye. Motion carries unanimously. Thank y'all. Next, we'll go to old business. We're going to go to 2B and C, and I think they've been asked to be moved to next month. So they've been asked to be continued. Aaron, do you want to add anything to this?
No, sir, you're correct. We would need to wait until we actually get the properties annexed to that act on any zoning.
All right, do we need to make a motion to continue it or just do a consensus?
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion, we continue this.
I
have a
think we
motion to
probably need to do a date. Brian might have to,
Yeah, that's why I was, need to, continue it to a date certain, so we don't have to go back and do the notices all.
All right, our date for the next meeting is December 8th, Ricky. Would that suit you?
Yes, sir. I make the motion that we table this till December the 8th.
Thank you, sir. I need a second.
Second.
Thank you, Chipper. I'll poll the council. I'll start with Chip,
Aye.
Melody.
Aye.
Thank you, ma'am. Jennifer.
Aye.
Thank you, ma'am. Ricky.
Aye.
Thank you, sir. And I'll vote aye. All right. Let's see here what I've got next. Next, go to number 3, recommendations from the planning board. IS 2005 Council Creek, application by Chuck Truby for subdivision for 34.441 acres off Council Road. Are you handling this also, Aaron?
Barry, can I interrupt you for a moment?
Yes, ma'am.
That previous motion, was that encompassing B and C? Or just one or
Yes.
the other?
No, it was for both of them.
Okay,
I made
thank
the
you.
motion for both of them.
Okay.
I'm sorry. Okay. We'll get that straight so we don't have any problem with it. Okay. So does, Aaron, are you having 3A?
I believe Nathan was, but basically this is the step that you take with the subdivision process. They've already received the zoning, the annexation just happened, and this was the final step for the Council Creek subdivision, which has 92 lots.
All right, let's ask have we got any questions for the staff?
Aaron, is this going to end up a R12 zoning?
I believe the final approval for the zoning was for R12 subdivision.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions for the staff?
I think what Ricky was asking, Aaron, was that, are the lots like 12,000 square feet?
Nathan might have to answer that. I don't have the folder in front of me, so Nathan might have to actually answer that one for you.
The lots will all meet the requirements for the R12 zoning.
Okay, that's not what I'm asking.
The lots meet the legal standard established by the city of Graham for R12.
But the lots are not 12,000 square feet for R12. They're 10,000 and 11,000 and 10,000. For most of them, they're around 10,000 or 11,000. Is that correct?
Many of the lots are smaller than 12,000 square feet as per city of Graham regulations.
Subdivision is an R12 open space subdivision with an effective or net density of 2.67 dwelling units per acre, and that's equivalent to an R16 if we want to talk about density.
Any other questions for the staff?
What is the smallest road frontage width?
Other than in a cul-de-sac, the minimum width of the lots is 50 feet. The minimum average width of a lot in a cul-de-sac has to be at least 50 feet.
Okay, thank you.
Yes. Then let me move to your agenda, and I'll ask for a motion, please.
Mr. Mayor, I move to recommend approval of the following with the following conditions: that the developer obtain written consent from lots 131-216 and 131-218 to maintain the existing cul-de-sac at Darrell Drive or remove it when they construct that phase of the development. The application is consistent with the Graham 2035 comprehensive plan. The action is reasonable and in the public interest for the following reasons: allowing a subdivision in this location allows for improved water quality. Policy 4.3.1 and provides additional neighborhood connections, policy 3.2.3.
Mr.
Thank you.
Mayor,
Need a second?
I second that motion.
Then I'll poll the council. I'll go to Chip first.
Aye.
I'll go to Melody,
Aye.
Jennifer,
Aye.
Rick,
Aye.
and I'll make it unanimous. All right, thank y'all. Thank you, Mr. Chuck Truby. All right, next we go to number 4, boards commissions appointment. We have one vacancy. A term expires 2022 for the Appearance Commission, one for the Historic Resources Commission, and that one expires 2024. So we'll do this as we have passed. I'll go to Chip, the Mayor Pro Tem first, and ask for his nomination, and then we'll get all our nominations and then vote. So Chip, what do you think?
Bonnie Whitaker.
Okay, I'm writing them down here. Do you have a nomination? Melody, I'm sorry.
Bonnie Whitaker.
I'm sorry, say that again.
Bonnie Whitaker.
Jennifer, do you have a nomination?
Zipporah Clark Baldwin.
Ricky, have you got a nomination?
Bonnie Whitaker.
And I'll work with any. So we got 2 people nominated. So last vote first. We'll go to Bonnie Whitaker. Chip, will you first?
Aye.
Melody,
Aye.
Ricky,
Aye.
Jennifer. Well, I have 3 people, but I'll vote for it. It'll be 4 at least. So we will put Bonnie Whitaker as on the Appearance Commission. So next we go to the Historic Resources Commission. I'll go to Chip again. Chip, have you got a nomination?
Troy Woodard.
Melody, nomination, please.
Matt Haley.
Jennifer, have you got a nomination?
Troy Woodard.
Was that you, Ricky?
Yes, sir.
Jennifer, have you got a nomination?
Troy Woodard is fine.
Okay. With that being said, we've got, I can work again with anybody that shows up. So I will poll the council. First for Troy Woodard, I'll go to Chip, please.
Aye.
Melody,
No.
thank you, ma'am. Jennifer,
Aye.
Ricky.
Aye.
All right, that gives us a majority. That's 3. I'll vote aye to give it 4. So that would be Troy Woodard the 3rd, by the way. So he will be our new Public Resources Commission person. So now for the things not on tonight's agenda.
Excuse me, Mr. Mayor. Chip,
Yes, sir.
if you would please, sir, check your camera. We're looking at the floor. It may be reversed.
How's that?
There you go. Yes, sir. Thank you.
Okay.
Sorry about that, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, sir. All right, anyone in attendance would like to speak during the public comment period, please indicate you wish to do so by using the raise hand feature in Zoom, or if by phone, press *9 to notify the host you wish to speak. We ask that you state your name, address, and topic for the record. You will be given minutes to speak. Please be advised at this time the council will not speak about or make any statements regarding any current litigations. So, Jeff, have you got anyone?
Yes, I do. Carrie, you've been unmuted. Go ahead, ma'am.
Thank you. This is Carrie Griffin, and I live in Green Level. Thank you, Mayor. As you know, I've spent much of the summer and fall working alongside our community to raise awareness, especially at the elected official level and the management of the city's level concerning much of our Black and Brown community in Graham. I've spoken at multiple city council meetings, county commissioner meetings, and one-on-one meetings with many employees of the city. While there have been many asks from the community, the number one has been for you, all of you on this call, to actively listen, respond, and then lead with all the residents in mind. I see now that what we have requested is falling on deaf ears, and the continuous use of litigation as being an excuse to actually engage with your community is sad. Within a week after the Graham Police Department used chemical warfare on its community, your leadership has been silent. And within the first 15 minutes of tonight's meeting, you praised the former police chief who was forced to retire early because he posted an anti-Black Lives Matter message on the Graham Police Department Facebook page. With all due respect, who is in charge here? Where is the leadership? Your police department attacked, ambushed, and hurt innocent people October 31st, exercising their First Amendment rights while also making their way to the polls. Not only was this a violation of our constitutional rights and voter intimidation, this was a clear inclination of how little this city actually cares about protecting the people of Graham. Immediately following our moment of silence, we were given one command to move to the sidewalk, and not even 30 seconds later, Officer R.S. King of the GPD began spraying the air with pepper spray. I witnessed him spraying at least 3 times in front of children, elderly, and people with disabilities. Officer King and the GPD escalated this situation. Why? Clearly, he is unfit for the job as he did nothing to keep the community safe. I am ashamed of this city, this department, and the way in which this was handled. Where is the chief? Where is your statement, Mayor? Where is the city statement, Mr. Manus? While the sheriff department did their fair share of brutal force Saturday, I hold Chief Cole, the GPD, and Officer R.S. King responsible for what happened. Police violence is never an accident. This became an unlawful assembly because of your department, and I urge a third-party investigation into what happened on October 31st.
Thank you, ma'am. Jeff, have you got anyone else?
Yes, sir, I do.
Okay.
Travis, you've been unmuted. Go ahead.
Hi, thank you. Can everyone hear me?
Yes, name and address, please, sir.
My name is Travis Laughlin. Prefer not to give my address, if that's all right.
That's fine.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Mayor and council members. We find ourselves in a time when the supposed leader of the nation, the current president of the United States, holds us hostage with false accusations and is actively and purposefully pushing greater division while encouraging violence among the populace. We have seen 4 years of fear-mongering, intimidation, and false narratives weaponized against not only the most vulnerable in our nation, but the nation's democratic systems. This abuse of power has brought the United States to a governmental and moral crisis. And for many leaders at the local level within Alamance County, the president's approach to wielding power has done nothing more than embolden them to deepen their commitment to racist structures and the use of power and influence as a tool to try and silence democracy and justice. I come to you tonight to ask that you analyze the power and influence you possess within your roles as elected officials and community members. I ask that you advocate for democracy and justice rather than acquiescing to the norm in local politics that I have seen and experienced, which consistently aims to support white supremacy and ignores the numerous calls for justice in this community. I ask that you consider your ethical, moral, and civil duties to listen to and protect this community from its 150-year history of violence and oppression against Black people. And I ask that you hold yourselves and others accountable for the harm caused and its perpetuation. I ask that you hold the Graham Police Department and Chief of Police Christy Cole accountable for violence upon peaceful demonstrators. I was part of the peaceful march on October 31st. In all my years of participating in peaceful demonstrations, I have never been met with a police force that was so aggressive and clearly intent on silencing and attacking a group of peaceful demonstrators. Their actions were nothing short of intimidation of voters intent on marching to the polls and a clear act of voter suppression. I ask that the actions of the GPD on October 31st be investigated and that the council ensure Christy Cole and the sheriff directly address local organizers. I ask that you use your power and influence to protect the citizens of Graham and all persons who enter your city limits. The protection and care given to neo-Confederates that congregate in downtown Graham is an egregious example of white lives and racist ideology taking precedence over the lives of other people, particularly people of color. I ask that you work to protect the one Black business owner in downtown Graham who is building community, adding to the vibrancy of downtown Graham, and is generating a positive economic impact on the town. She currently has volunteers sitting in the store with her for her protection from harassment and threats communicated by racists. The City Council must do better to protect her and her business from these violent acts. I ask that you denounce the biased reporting of the Alamance News and their use of their platform to incite danger and spread misinformation. While I recognize the protection of Tom Boney has behind the First Amendment, his paper endangers the lives of persons through the inaccurate and racially biased articles printed and shared online. He and this paper are unethical, and the Graham City Council should sever any and all ties. Graham has become known across the world as a place filled with hate and a symbol of the systemic problems so pervasive in this country. I imagine that is not how the members of this council wish for Graham to be known, but I could be wrong. It is clear that members of the Alamance County Commissioners relish the concept of law and order, which prevails in the county, and they consistently mock those fighting for justice and the call for silencing of our voices. So I ask, does this council want to align with the Alamance County Commissioners? Does this council wish to remain complicit with the oppression and endangerment of the citizens? Or will this council do what is ethical, moral, and on the right side of justice? I ask, will this council take a stand? Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Laughlin. Anyone else, Jeff?
Yes, sir. One more. Reverend Drumright, you've been unmuted. Go ahead, sir.
Well, good evening, Council, Mayor Peterman, City Manager Manus, and to the councilmen and woman, the Honorable. Greetings to you all again from Justice for the Next Generation. I have addressed you all just under a month ago about our intentions to convene a peaceful march and get out the vote rally on October 31st. As you well know now, our rally was suppressed by police brutality. That brutality, use of excessive force, use of chemical agents for crowd control, a peaceful crowd, a crowd that was organizing without violence or destruction or weapons, was suppressed by those efforts at the hand of two law enforcement entities there in Alamance County. I'm sure by now you all have seen it for yourselves, as well as the millions of people that have been watching around the world. We have heard from countless organizations, entities, public officials, and dignitaries from all over the globe condemning the actions that happened against our marchers there in Graham on October 31st. However, your law enforcement officials convened a meeting on or about November 5th, a community meeting that was closed to the community. A meeting to discuss and dispel the record and the truth, a meeting that was one-sided in nature, a meeting that supposedly released documents. Specifically tonight, I want to uplift the 1026 letter that was uplifted in the meeting, but only one page of it by Chief Christy Cole and Terry Johnson. Probably perhaps because on the second page, it contained this appeal to Chief Cole and members of this council and Sheriff Terry Johnson. And I quote, "Given the fact that we convened a safe march on July the 11th in the same space we seek to use now, it does not seem necessary to have a large police presence on October 31st. We especially do not want police occupying the north landing steps of the courthouse because that is where our rally will be. A large police presence always seems to result in Black people and anti-racist protesters getting arrested simply for standing there chanting and holding signs about justice, while neo-Confederate demonstrators are allowed to be and do and say as they wish, no matter how offensive their words, gestures, or symbols. I want to be clear that I am strongly opposed to Graham or the Alamance County Sheriff's Office deploying large numbers of police, particularly in police in riot gear, brandishing batons, tear gas, and other weapons at our demonstration on October 31st. That show of force has routinely and repeatedly resulted in harm to protesters and chilling of their First Amendment rights, unquote. I want this council to know that this letter was issued on October 26th, 2020, days ahead of the police brutality, excessive force, brandishing batons, use of tear gas, and other weapons at our demonstration on October 31st. Prophetically, I uplifted to city officials and both law enforcement entities that what could happen is actually what did happen. And to know that you as city officials, mayor, city manager, have done nothing, absolutely nothing, to hold your officials accountable for this is disparaging to the community of organizers and the millions of the beloved community all around the world who are now calling for your leadership. And so we are asking that you all release the record of this letter on 10/26. And if you don't, we'll do it for you, because we will not stop until we get justice for the people that were abused by your law enforcement entities on October 31st. The last thing I want to say is I heard from an elder from our community today who was more than 70 years old, who is just out of the hospital because she inhaled the chemical agent that her doctor has said gave her an infection in her lungs. One of our most vulnerable was violated in these actions. The world is watching. We asked you before, and I'm asking you now, do the right thing. Thank you.
Thank you, Reverend Drumright. Have we got anybody else, Jeff?
Nobody with their hand raised, Mayor, except for the other two that were earlier, but they have not raised their hand again.
Okay. Darcy, have you got any emails or any other contacts?
No, sir.
Then I'll poll the council. Chip, have you got anything to add? Unmute, please.
Excuse me, sorry. No, sir.
Ricky, I'm looking at him on the screen here. Ricky Hall, please.
No, sir.
Melody.
Yes, sir.
Chip.
I'm sorry?
Have you got anything to add to the meeting,
No.
council? Okay. I do want to have everybody think about Deborah's family. Don Moose is going to be a lonely man, and if y'all see him, give him a hug or something. I'll go to Frankie. Frankie, have you got anything?
No, sir.
Aaron?
No, sir.
Let's see, who else have I got? Brian, you got anything else?
No, sir.
Nate?
No, sir, Mr. Mayor.
Mary, you've been quiet tonight. Have you got anything?
I'll just add that myself, along with Brandy McCandless from the Rec Department, we are working with Graham Area Business Association for alternatives for our Christmas season. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. All right, we'll try to release those as soon as possible so we can get community knowing what we're trying to do. Darcy, have you got anything else?
No, sir.
With that being said, I need a motion to adjourn.
Mr. Mayor, I hate to interrupt
Yes,
you, but you've had one raise their hand. It's up to you.
Let's be fine. Let's go ahead with it and go ahead and let them speak. 4 minutes is not too much to ask to let people
Bonnie,
speak.
you've been unmuted. Go ahead.
Yes, sir. Just want to say good evening to everybody. And I had one suggestion for a possible suggestion for the Christmas parade. You know, I know there was a town in Virginia, I think, that's doing like a stationary float parade where they have stationary floats throughout the city, and people can drive by in their cars and look at the floats and maybe vote on floats and contests and things like that. So I just wanted to kind of present that as a possibility, and that's really all I wanted to say.
Bonnie, I do need to know your address, please.
Oh, so sorry. Bonnie Whitaker. I live at 2456 Greenview Drive in Valleyfield.
Thank you. And they have, let's see, Oxford, I believe, is having a virtual, I'm sure, is having a reverse parade. And that's what they've called that, where the people drive through and the parade actually sits still. So we're looking at alternatives. You know, we did the Halloween festival not too long ago, which was almost a reverse that, where the cars drove through and we gave out candy the other way around. So yeah, we're looking at the exact same thing. I appreciate you bringing it up to us.
Yes,
Bonnie,
sir. Have a good night. Yeah.
Bonnie, we are working, as Mary said, with the rec department and the business association, and a lot of the downtown businesses, and we're trying to create a downtown winter wonderland so people can drive downtown, see the lights, see some displays. And so I think we're working really diligently to be able to do that. I mean, people really are looking to at least end 2020 with something to make people look forward to. So I encourage you to, you know, if you're interested, you know, please message me or send me an email at the city's email address, and I'd be happy to have you assist or help in any way that you know, if you're interested in helping us put something together.
Sure, I will do that.
Thank you, Bonnie. We appreciate it. All
Yes,
right,
sir.
last call.
Mr. Mayor, make a motion that we adjourn.
Thank you, sir. I need a second.
Move.
I'll call
Second.
Council
Sorry,
Chipper.
Second. I'm sorry. Second.
How do you vote on that? Do you vote
Aye.
yes?
Aye.
All right, Melody, please.
Aye.
Jennifer,
Aye.
Ricky,
Yes.
and I vote aye. Good night, everybody. Thank you for being here.